Well, hello and welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about the Stanford University new list that they put out in December, and it's going over harmful language. And I got a hold of the list. It took me a little bit to find actually, and then I did end up getting it. So we're going to go over it now. For those who want to actually see the full list and maybe click the links on the bottom, because there are some other things I'm going to show you at the end there. You can go into the description of this video and I will have my Discord and all that stuff. If you're watching this on TikTok, then a lot of that's in my link tree, my profile, and this document in there so you can go and take a look at it yourself. So anyways, let's take a look at this. So we're looking at elimination of harmful language initiative, and as you can see, the Stanford University, and this is the initiative. So if we're gonna scroll down here, we're just gonna look at this. So the goal of the elimination of harmful language initiative is to eliminate many forms of harmful language, including racism, violent, and biased language in Stanford University websites and code. Let me just remind you what the title of this is: elimination of harmful language initiative. So you're gonna assume that in this document there's going to be harmful language. And I just find it a little comical. Content warning: this website contains language that is offensive or harmful. Please engage with this website at your own pace. All right, so you're not allowed to say dumb anymore, which is interesting. But if you think about the actual terminology with dumb, dumb started out as literally meaning non-vocal and non-verbal, but that's not how people use it these days. But you're not allowed to say it, and or it's going to be taken off their websites. Now I don't know if it's in their code or in their website, because that's what they're actually going after. But to give you an idea, that's what it is. And you're not allowed to say handicap parking, you have to say accessible parking. So again, kind of interesting, right? And then, a lot of people do say the words lame. You have to say boring and uncool, apparently. So now we're getting definitions for these words so the other thing that a lot of people are talking about, so this is under gender-based harmful words, right? One of the things that they usually say is, what's your preferred pronouns, right? And that was something that literally for the last couple of years, that's what you ask someone, you're supposed to ask someone. And now preferred is not a good word, so you just have to say pronouns. The word preferred suggests that non-binary gender identity is a choice and a preference. But I think that kind of goes over not just non-binary, that also goes over transgender and stuff like that. So because transgender people wouldn't see it as a preference to be another gender, they would see it, so I think maybe their explanation there maybe should be edited, because some people can get offended by the context kind of thing. You're not allowed to say freshman, you have to say frosh, or first year student. Never actually heard the word frosh before, but it is what it is, and that's because of masculine language and stuff like that. Okay, so you're not allowed to say transsexual unless it's used medically. Now, personally, I've never heard the word transsexual being used medically. Never heard a doctor in any, let's say, news articles or anything like that say transsexual. They've always said transgender, at least when I've seen it. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can take a look at that yourself. You have to now say transgender, which is what I thought the term was anyways, because you're transitioning genders, you're not transitioning sexualities necessarily. And sexual orientation and gender are also two different things. So, just to keep that in mind. Now, I did make a video talking about gender versus sex recently, and how gender is a social construct, and and sex is a biological construct, meaning one is rooted in biology and the other one is rooted in society, right? All right, so this is probably the most interesting one. You're not allowed to say American. So when you're talking about your friends down south, you have to now say U.S. citizen, because American appropriates that America is the only and the best country in all of the Americas. I'm not going to stop saying Americans, because I think everyone knows what I'm talking about when we talk about Americans. But this term often refers to people from the United States only, thereby insinuating that the US is the most important country in the Americas, which is actually made up of 42 countries. Now, like I said, there are some obvious words like using half-breed, person of multiple ethnicities. Now, someone of multiple ethnicities may call themselves a half-breed, but it's not necessarily going to happen. It's a racial slur, essentially what it is, right? Okay, so we have Karen on here, and we're not allowed to say Karen anymore. We have to say demanding or entitled white woman. Now, historically, Karens have always been entitled white women, but these days, Karens can be anyone. They can even be dudes. We call people who are entitled, regardless of gender, regardless of age, regardless of race, we call them Karens. We might just say male Karen kind of thing, right? Because, there's not really an equivalent on that side of things. Demanding doesn't necessarily fit the definition of a Karen. Entitled white woman fits it a little bit better, but like I said, I mean, people of all different ethnicities and genders get called Karens, so that doesn't really fit it either. So, maybe they gotta rework that definition a little bit, but let's continue on. Now, peanut gallery, I found that one very interesting as well, because now you have to say audience, hecklers, or critics. So it kind of covers everything, right? So it depends on why you're calling them the peanut gallery. This is the definition that they say, right? So it's actually a racist term, and it refers to the cheapest and worst section in the theaters. I didn't know that. I'm gonna actually look that up because I find that interesting. Anyways, so you're not allowed to say peanut gallery, but to me, when I think peanut gallery, I just think Charlie Brown is what I think when I think peanut gallery, right? So you're not allowed to say survivor anymore. You have to say person who has experienced blank and person who has been impacted by. But if you're a survivor or something, you can call yourself whatever you want. I mean, honestly, you survived, so it is what it is. All right, so abusive relationship is not allowed to be used anymore, and this is under the violence section. Interesting thing about that is that they literally say the same thing, just with more words. Now, I've been in a situation like this. I'm still going to call it this because that's what I would rather call it, because this is a waste of words. And if everyone knows from watching my videos, I tend to waste words a lot. So I shorten up that because it just makes more sense. And honestly, it means the same frickin' thing. So they don't want you to say trigger warning either. You have to say content note. But a lot of people won't necessarily know what that means. Yeah, the phrase can cause stress about what's to follow. Additionally, one can never know what may or may not trigger that particular person. So, but just saying a trigger warning and then maybe a little description of the trigger warning afterwards. So let's just say I'm making a video and I put in the front of it trigger warning, and I don't tell you what it is. That's kind of what this is talking about here. And I don't tell you what the trigger might possibly be. But if I say trigger warning, abusive relationship, and then I go and I talk about my past, well then, at least then you have some content, and if you don't want to watch it, then you don't have to. But saying content note, so if I did a video and I said content note, that means nothing. But then I'd have to put a description. So I say content note, being in a relationship with an abusive person, with the technical terms here. Then, that would be, I don't know. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense if you ask me. Because I think trigger warning makes sense. So if a person is easily triggered by things, they just won't watch the video, right? For example, when you're scrolling through people on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, sometimes it says, uncover this video, watch anyways because of whatever it is. Then you have that option, right? And this is a way that a content creator can actually say, hey, listen, there's going to be a trigger in here for some people, and maybe give a little description after so that people will understand, right? So, all right. So we ended up getting to the end of the list here. There is a lot more. Like I said, this would be up on my Discord for you to go take a look at. But at the very bottom here, there's a couple different sources that talk about different things. And so, we can click on this, but I don't know if it's going to show. Actually, what I'll do is I'll click on the offensive profane word list. Actually, I can't show you this list. Nope. It literally, nope. Pretty much every other word is either racist, offensive, or it's sexual in nature. So I can't show you this list. But anyways, just go back to all of this. So essentially, you can go take a look at that yourself. And like I said, this is, it's about 13 pages. It's pretty quick to read through. But this is directly from the Stanford University with their EHLI program, so the Elimination of Harmful Language Initiative. Literally, just to make sure that the YouTube peoples are happy, it does say Stanford websites, and this is, just making sure that we are understanding that any of these words on there is not me saying them, it's Stanford saying them to eliminate them. Have a wonderful day.